Hello, this is and I am Kitty Hollywood. Tonight I'm going to be talking about a fascinating film, 1945's Hangover Square, directed by John Brahm, starring Laird Cregar, Linda Darnell and George Sanders. It's a film noir, but it's a turn-of-the-century film noir, so slightly different to your average 1940s film noir. It's about a brilliant composer who, when he gets particularly stressed and anxious about his music and hears a discordant sound randomly out of the middle of nowhere, becomes a sociopath and kills people. It's a short film, it's only about 76 minutes long, but it is jam-packed full of goodness. Okay, starring Laird Cregar, an amazing character actor, an amazing large character actor who became so obsessed with his own weight that he ended up going on an incredibly radical diet, taking drugs along the way in order to aid his weight loss, and died very, very tragically before this film came out at the cinema. He was 31 years old when he died. Starring George Sanders, who, interestingly enough, is still a good guy in this film. This is before he started getting into the smarmy, very well spoken but not very nice, I'm going to inspire Hercules grit pipe thin by the goons kind of character. Starring Linda Darnell, who was only 22 years old when she made this film, which is quite astonishing given the nature of the woman that she plays, which is a scheming, evil temptress slut. And you spend a lot of the time of the film longing for someone to give her a good smack. Needless to say, as often happens in films made in that time, bad people do get their comeuppance. She gives George Harvey Bone a cat throughout the course of the film, accidentally more than anything else, and you think, oh god, what's going to happen to the cat? He doesn't kill the cat. Laird Cregar, he was a joyful character actor. He really threw himself into the characters, best known for Blood and Sand, this Gun for Hire. Then after that he sort of went into the heavy role, I Wake Up Screaming, The Lodger, etc. Which he felt was beginning to typecast him, and there's nothing worse than being typecast. He was also gay, and you couldn't be coming out to the studios, or in fact anybody in that day and age, given that it was illegal. So that would have been a whole other level of psychological hang-up that he would have had. What do I do about this? Do I hide it? Do people secretly know about it? Do I try not to be gay? It really informs so much when you look at the roles that he plays and the characters that he develops. Laird Cregar read the book that this film is based on. It's actually set in the modern day, which was late 30s England. And he persuaded 20th Century Fox to buy it for him. The film Laird Cregar had made before this was The Lodger, also directed by John Brahm. It was a Jack the Ripper film. He is electrifying in it. He is the bad guy. I think 20th Century Fox perhaps decided they'd like to kind of make the film again. And so it was altered from being a modern film into being a period film. And Laird Cregar wasn't all that thrilled when he saw the changes that were coming about. Although he was persuaded that it would be a good thing for him, he might get to play his own compositions. As a result, he was a piano player and a composer himself. He didn't. So he became very disenchanted with the notion of the film. On top of this, he was going through an incredible crash diet and taking drugs, and it was not a particularly pleasant experience for him, the making of this film. I think we're perhaps the unfortunate beneficiaries of that because of the nature of the performance that he turns out, because it is a haunting performance. It is a distressing and deeply moving picture of a guy who's not at home within himself, and that can be said as much, I think, for the individual actor as it can for the character of George Harvey Bone. The cinematography in this film is by Joseph Lachelle, who clearly knew how to light the crap out of anything. I cannot imagine this film being in colour. It would lose so much, because so much about this film is about the shadows, the light, the dark, but it's beautiful. One of the key set pieces is to do with Guy Fawkes' Night. It is creepy. It is kind of jaw-dropping. The final sequence to this film is absolutely extraordinary. I don't know how they pulled it off from a stunt double point of view. The way in which John Brahm photographs music is quite beautiful in this film, because it is so very much a part of the story. He's stated that he wanted to shoot music other than just there's a piano, there's a guy playing a piano. He wanted to make you feel it in the same way that George Harvey Bone feels his own music, and I really think he succeeds from this point of view. I'm sure it helped that Laird Cregar was actually playing the piano, so there was no awkward, quick cutaway, can't play the piano fuss. It was just able to happen much more organically than it would. Someone who saw this film when he was 15 years old, famously, is Stephen Sondheim, who was absolutely inspired by Bernard Herrmann's music. There is a set of moments when George Harvey Bone hears his discordant chords, and there's a strange high set of notes that Sondheim was entranced by and actually pays homage to in his score for Sweeney Todd.
Again the tale of Sweeney Todd.
So it's a tragic film that sort of seems a little bit doomed in a sense, because Laird Cregar died of a heart attack when he was 31, because Linda Darnell died in a house fire when she was 41, because George Sanders committed suicide when he was 65 because he was bored. Vincent Price delivered the eulogy at Laird Cregar's funeral as requested by Laird Cregar's mother, and he was a romantic lead who then went on to become heavies, but still had an element of romance to him that you think, well, what was going to happen to Laird Cregar? Where would he have gone had he not died so tragically? That he had gone for the role of Waldo Lydecker in Laura and had not been given it because to them it meant Laird Cregar is bad guy, and it wouldn't have worked, and it wouldn't have worked. That's the terrible thing. And yet he wanted that role and wanted to be able to prove himself as a romantic man so much that it killed him ultimately. And so you look at Glenn Langan, at Vincent Price, at Dragonwyck, at Laura, at Hangover Square, and a man who is desperately trying to find the love of a woman who is worthless while trying to create a concerto that is the only thing that's ever going to satisfy him, that he dies for ultimately. It is, I think, in part the film is fascinating because of what happens externally to the film as well as what happens within the film. Look, it's a melodrama, let's make no bones about it. It is a full-blown violin-playing melodrama, and so to try and assess it as a natural film would be wrong. It is an awesome melodrama. It kicks butt, and from that point of view, I really can give it, what, shall I give it 9 out of 10? I don't know, would it be wrong to give it 10 out of 10? Because of, anyhow, it's, look, every time I watch it again, I am haunted by it, and I can't think of a better recommendation for a film noir than that, to be completely honest. Hangover Square, get it, watch it. It's really, really good.